Hi, welcome to day 16 of Tarot Combos, where we draw two cards and see how those energies interact. So let's see what's with us today from our Sun and Moon Tarot deck. I think that's what it's called. Thanks for being here. Yep. Wheel of Fortune. Challenged by the King of Wands. I love this. Well, I love all of them. You know me. So the Wheel of Fortune challenged by the King of Wands. The Wheel of Fortune is just, in a nutshell, the only constant is change. It's constantly going, and we're constantly going around it. And sometimes they say we're on top, and sometimes we feel like we're on the bottom. And yet, there's something coming to me about equanimity here. I just got all the chills. So something about equanimity is important in this particular reading, where no matter what's happening, we are not reacting one way or another. If it's a good thing, we're not, overreacting in the best sense. And then if it's not a good thing in our preference, then we're not reacting in the negative sense. So we're just not reacting. So there's something about equanimity that's important to understand in your own lived experience, when the Wheel of Fortune card is drawn, because it's saying the only constants change. So how we react to that change is the source of our own suffering and the source of our own joy. And then it's challenged by the King of Wands. The King of Wands, there's so much, I still sometimes struggle with the King of Wands because it's with like knowing all the things about the King of Wands. So I'll just say that, because to me, he's about a feeling. There's like this confidence there, and he's fire energy. So he's fire and fire. So he's like the most fiery to me, which means in this case, highly reactionary. Interesting. I think that's why I chose to tell you that I struggle with him, because that's something that I don't think I've read him as before. A lot of times I think of him as the thing to like embody with him, because I feel like with tarot they highlight to us, like, it's not a prediction machine. It's like, what traits can we embody to move through something we're dealing with in our own lives? And that's what tarot will reveal to us, is our own intuitive knowing of, like, if we had this trait that we could embody, that we could harness, then, I know the answers to my own questions. So with him, I often think of him as knowing where to exert his energy so that he doesn't burn up and burn out. Meaning, I know a lot of stuff needs my attention as a king, as somebody in power or authority, or who cares for others, who people look to for guidance. And so I can't just spread myself thin or my fire goes out. But I also have this tendency, like with that overreactionary thing, but I would think of him as, like, with all that fire, a fire can be explosive and just burn up and out so quickly. So the trait to harness is that confidence in knowing exactly what needs my attention and how much to exert so that I don't burn up, or that I don't let my flame die, either direction. So it's almost like what's the right amount of me that I can give to this problem, this situation, whatever's showing up in my life, to have the best outcome. And to me, when I think about that, there are a couple things. I think the equanimity piece, I think the way these two cards play together is how, like a lot of times with becoming non-reactionary so that we can embody that equanimity, it's about looking closely at our triggers, right? And dismantling them, working on them, healing them in whatever way. There are a million different modalities to do stuff like that. So different ones work for different people. So how can we do that shadow work or whatever you want to call it that says, help me become less reactionary? And over time, we develop this inner sense of equanimity. Like everything is, I feel so at peace. I feel just pure happiness, pure peaceness, where I'm not like manic, like, yes, and I'm not depressed, right? I'm not going between extremes. The equanimity is that beautiful, calm, peaceful middle land. So with him, there's like an energy component to that non-reactive state. Is like, what's the right amount of energy for me to infuse into something that I'm going through in my life? Like how much attention does this deserve? Does this warrant? So that I'm not becoming manic or I'm not becoming depressive. And I don't know why I chose that spectrum to talk about. It could be any extremes that you struggle with. Like for me, maybe there was a little bit of that, like, oh, I'm all gung-ho about this and all my energy is like going into it. Or I was just totally detached, dissociated from that, like apathetic, all the things. It was like hot or cold, and so to become more in the middle, it's like it feels like my energy becomes more like a steadiness kind of comes with my energy, unless I've had too much coffee or not enough. Just kidding. So I kind of think about the King of Wands as that two things, like how much energy is warranted right now? How much of my attention does this situation need? Like that's a very practical thing we can do, right? In daily life, is like not ruminate on something and give something all of our energy, and then it just depletes us. Like it does nothing out there. It's just like that ruminating energy of like, I'm giving it all my my mental energy and my emotional energy, and yet nothing out there is impacted. It's all suffering in here on that bottom part of the Wheel of Fortune. So that's the energy piece. And then it's like the non-reactionary piece of this card, because it's in the challenge area. The challenge might be like being overreactionary to circumstances in my life, to the things that trigger me. And that's like the opposite of equanimity. So how is my tendency to react to situations pulling me out of the peace that that's all I want? Isn't that all what we all want? To just feel peaceful and at ease? Not to say we're just boring, individuals. Some people might equate it with like being, well, that's not very interesting. That's not what I mean. You could be a highly interesting, creative person and still be equanimous, peaceful. Like feel like, whatever it is to you. So where do you see that show up in your life? This call, like where you tend to react, in your life. Is it your spouse? Is it your kids? I mean, those are obvious examples. Is it your aging parents? What is it for you? It tends to be relational, doesn't it? Like everything's relational. We're not gonna go react to a rock. Oh, that rock's really pissing me off right now. You know what I mean? It's like, although I do talk to rocks sometimes, I think everything has some consciousness baked into it. That's a different video. So I kind of wonder, like, this is a call to like, look, what is calling me away from that equanimous state? that I really desire? Is it a tendency to react versus respond? I think there's a difference between react is like the reflex arc. Like it's bypassing the central nervous system. Is that how you would say it? Versus a response means it's going up here. And then I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm seeing things from all angles. Got it. I'm not highly opinionated about this. I'm not trying to exert control. I'm seeing things like play out, and then trying to just like say like, what would equanimity look like here? And then versus the reflex arc that bypasses all of that and just goes. So I'm just talking about nervous system stuff. Forgive me. So anyway, in my life, because I like an example. I want to think about like the reactionary part probably is like my family, my parents. And I've been looking at that a lot the last several months, as you know, because you've probably like if you've watched these, you hear me. They come up in my videos more and more. So there's stuff to look at there, and I have like even this week I had some good stuff happen, like deep healing stuff happen in the last week or two around my reactionary tendencies toward my parents, because we have way old conditioning, way old stuff that I've been conditioned that still plays out in my life, and I'm asking even the universe, I'm like, please help me look at this and do whatever I need to do, to release it once and for all, because there feels like a readiness for me for that. Do you feel a readiness? Maybe that's a good question, because that did something for me when I recognized, what? There's like a readiness. When you're just done with something, when you're done. I talked about that with people this week on different topics, different contexts, but like when that switch gets flipped and you're like, I'm done. There's a doneness to some of this for me. Like it's been going around and I've been working on it, and I feel like, like that circling the drain feeling of like things keep coming back around and we're getting deeper and deeper and we're going into the abyss of like, the heart of it all maybe. That's not a good analogy, but do you have that? Does that conjure up anything for you to think of that? Like, what are you just feeling like you're just done? You're just done. So it's like, let's look at it once and for all. Let's circle, like, let's get to the part of the drain that goes so that we can get into the heart of darkness or whatever, and really just come through the other side. And it probably bloops us out into the now I'm not circling. Those things don't come back around. Like, that's such a good analogy actually for the Wheel of Fortune that just keeps going and going. Like, what is the thing, if you need a way to get at this, that whatever it is for you, what is the thing that just keeps circling back around and you're just like, enough already, to the point where you're like, I could be done with this. I think I'm ready. I'm ready to be done. So that's one way that I've tried to get at something that I couldn't quite articulate, is like, what feels like the recurrent theme in my life that I'm just annoyed with, like I'm just done. And there are some things I haven't, like I knew they would come back around, but I didn't feel that doneness. I just felt more of a curiosity, like, what is this? And at some point, like, if I feel like I've done enough work from all different angles getting at something, and it still comes back around, that's the one that I'm like, enough already. Let's just do this. And how? I don't know. So I surrender to the universe and say, help me. I'm at my wit's end. I don't have Any other ideas at how to get at this thing that keeps me away from my equanimity, that keeps me still reacting a little bit every time it comes back around? So that might be a productive little inquiry to do if you are so inclined. And you probably know exactly what it is already, right off the top of your head. But if not, where do you feel like you're circling the drain? Ask yourself that and see like what recurrent theme might come to mind. All right, that's all I got. Bye.